BBC Radio Leeds, the heart of West Yorkshire. I'm Dara. Great to have you tuned in. Thank you. It's 13 minutes past 9. Now, despite the odd shower that we've been blessed with, we haven't really been blessed with the showers, but we have been blessed with the sunshine. It has been good weather this last little while. And it does get you thinking, should I get a bit of sun? Is it good for me? Or do I have to pay attention to the warnings that you hear about deadly cancers that you can suffer from if you stay out in the sun too much? I know a fella, for example, and he actually got a skin melanoma on his belly button, of all places, had to have it removed. Did a little story on that a few years ago here in BBC Radio Leeds. It can happen. So how do we get the balance right? Well, let's have a chat now with the managing director of a company called Skin Genesis, and he's become a bit of an expert in this area as well. His name is Peter Beard. Peter, good morning.
Good morning.
How are you today?
Very well indeed.
So it's an interesting one, this, isn't it? With the good weather, it does cross our mind because we're all aware of the warnings and the discussions on our health. People become very conscious of their health. How do you get that balance between getting the best out of the sunshine and not suffering ill effects?
Well, you've got to be fairly aware of exactly how much sunshine there's really out there when it's hitting you, what time of day. But sunshine's so important to your life. It affects your mood with things like the serotonin and melatonin production. It affects vitamin D. It affects just so much that's good that you need in your life that you really don't want to avoid it. What you have to do is just get safe quantities of it. And at the same time as getting safe quantities, you can adjust your lifestyle as well so that you're slightly more resistant to the bad effects of the sun.
You've mentioned there something that perhaps we're all aware of and I've heard of in the past, which is the vitamin D. But the other chemicals maybe we're not so aware of, so it helps generate these other chemicals. Are they connected with this season, when there's not much sunshine around, the lack of those other ones you mentioned there, is that all connected? Just explain that.
Okay, very probably. It's quite a unique process that happens because it's actually exposing the retina of the eye to ultraviolet radiation, but you only need around about 10-15 minutes per day, and you don't really need huge quantities of it, so it doesn't have to be particularly strong.
But if you get none, you can have problems, can you?
You're going to have problems, and yes, you will start feeling this SAD, this sort of slight depression or that oomph middle of winter feeling.
So if you can get out at lunchtime in the winter, maybe that's enough, is it?
Yes, but I would always say to people, get out and do it as early as possible in the day. So if you have lots of sunshine early in the morning, that's the time to go out and without sunglasses, just let the eyes absorb some sunlight for about 10-15 minutes.
So that's enough, but if we get an hour, a couple of hours, are we going to feel fantastic?
No, you only need 10 to 15 minutes. And by and large, the amount of sun that you need each day isn't huge, so that you can top up all your various vitamin D productions and all the serotonin with really quite a little amount of sun. So
these feel-good chemicals you need, you get it from the sun, and they come through your eye, you say?
Yes, it will trigger a reaction because the UV hits the eyes. It will cause a process in your pineal gland, and that will start producing the melatonin and the serotonin. And this will also affect your body clock, so that if you get that at a sort of fairly early, regular hour, then you'll find that you'll sleep better, you will just function better.
Isn't that fascinating? Yeah. I think we all recognise that feel-good factor of being in the sun, that sort of, this is nice, And what about vitamin D? How does that function? How do we need that? And how does it work in relation to the sun?
Okay, well, vitamin D is very important for things like bone growth. I think the evidence is coming in that it is, in fact, giving people certain immunities or protections or resistance to cancers as well. So you then have the paradox that sun, which people are worried will cause cancers, will actually produce vitamin D that helps you fight cancers. So it's a very important vitamin to actually have. It's a vitamin the body can produce itself. hence you need the sun to do it.
And that's fascinating. It gets right back to that dilemma of how much sun is good and how long does it get into being bad. So vitamin D, it literally is produced by the body itself with the help of sunlight. And any other things necessary for this production? Is that just it? Sunshine on the body.
Yeah,
that's
just
it.
Get out with a healthy diet, of course. But providing you're eating all your green vegetables and you've got a nice source of protein, then going out into the sun will make you produce vitamin D. The downside is that the sunshine will help you produce vitamin D. It will also destroy things like folic acid. So you want to top up. Your diet when you go into the sun is very, very important, because on the one hand, it gives you all these wonderful things like serotonin and it gives you vitamin D. But on the other side, it destroys things like folic acid. And of course, if you overexpose yourself, you will burn, you'll damage the skin, and at the same time expose yourself to the risk of various sorts of skin cancers.
Yeah, well, let's talk about that now, because I was on holiday for a couple of weeks in Italy, and I burned on about the third day in, and I wasn't sure even why I burned, because I was sat out for a long time, but I thought I was under an umbrella, and I didn't have any skin cream on it, any sun cream on at all on my shoulders. Did have on my face and arms and stuff like that, but the shoulders were the ones that burned, and I was shocked that they burned, because I didn't think it was possible. But it must have been. We just surmised, myself and my wife, that it came through the canopy of the sun parasol. Is that possible?
Well, it is possible, and you'll also find that certain wavelengths of ultraviolet will reflect quite well. So, by and large, the longer lengths, that's the UVA, will tend to reflect a little bit more than the UVB. And you tend not to take that into account. You will sit in the sun, and of course the UVA will penetrate a little bit better, so more of it will come through glass, more of it will reflect off concrete or the sea, and you'll be sitting there feeling nice and safe, but in fact you are toasting yourself. And of course certainly with the UVA, then if you haven't had the accompanying UVB to go with it, which encourages the actual melanin production, and that is what the UVA is going to turn brown, then there's nothing to turn brown. Suddenly you end up burning sort of 3-4 days later. You accumulate it.
Yeah. And you know what, Peter? Back in the 70s, it was like, hey, look at me, I'm peeling. Hey!
Yeah, I know.
And, where are we if we're peeling?
Well, it's not necessarily all bad, but if you peel sort of every summer and 3 times a summer for 30 years, then you're not doing yourself any good. But I wouldn't really panic if for the first time in your life that you've actually peeled. But you need to treat it. So first thing to do to treat it is to stop yourself going in any more sun, because this is just adding to the problem. Second thing is you need to rub in lots of antioxidants. The third thing, you need to eat as healthily as possible. And there's a lot you can do with your diet. So things like processed tomatoes, that's tomato juice, the tomato paste is very, very good. Caffeine is very good, surprisingly. So a good cup of black coffee will do absolute wonders.
Yeah.
And exercise also. And if you have exercise and caffeine together, then you're going to enhance both effects. So the ideal sort of in the sun diet would involve things like caffeine, exercise, tomato juice, maybe taking a vitamin supplement, which is rich in antioxidants, certainly eating lots of brightly coloured vegetables and fruits. And
okay, Peter, can we get skin cancer in this country in this weather that we're having at the moment?
Very, very definitely.
Yeah,
and certainly in the summer months when there's a lot of UVA radiation coming down, it is a very real risk, and I would certainly advise people to sort of take precautions. Don't risk it. Go out into the sun by all means, but cover up. And at the same time, use sunscreens and wear a hat if you can. Okay,
it's fascinating stuff. If you're on Briggett today, Peter has some of his team there giving out free UV tests to make you more aware of how much UV is about, Peter, yeah?
Yeah, well, we're giving away little UV indicators, and if you stop and talk to someone, they'll assess your skin type, and they'll be able to tell you how quickly you'll burn according to the actual sun conditions. So you'll get a fairly useful chart, I hope.
Yeah, quick in my case, being pale, you see. Yeah. But Well, it's a good education, is that, I think, for people listening. Certainly I found it fascinating. And we forget the good. We do forget the good side of the sunshine, which we've covered there nicely. Thank you